Heads Up with myself and Sanjoy. This week's kind of a special pre-US election episode where we'll be talking about the effects of both currency and markets of the outcome of tomorrow's vote in the States. But of course, last week we had a bit of a jump in the sterling.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Take us through that, Sanjoy.
Yeah, we had a jump in sterling. Basically the court decision came out that Britain is still a parliamentary democracy, and it means that the triggering of Article 50, the first point of departure, train leaving on platform 9, has to be triggered by Parliament, by an open vote in Parliament. And it looks like a fairly clear categorical decision, and I don't really understand why the government has decided to appeal it rather than just getting on with having the debate in Parliament. And it increases uncertainty where it should be decreasing uncertainty if they just accepted this, because now we have the prospect of maybe she'll call a general election instead.
Yes.
Maybe she'll turn around, and people are leaving. One guy left the Conservative Party, who was actually a Leave campaigner, saying, why all this nonsense? The SNP has said they wouldn't countenance going for Article 50 until they were sure that we wouldn't leave the single market. So the whole thing's coming into focus now, and as I say, they can still go to for another appeal with all 12 Supreme Court judges. If that doesn't work, they'll go to Parliament. There's still time for her to achieve her self-imposed target of March for triggering Article 50. So I really don't understand why they're doing this. I can only assume that the reason is that the discussion on triggering Article 50 will very much revolve around what is the plan? What is the plan? How far are we willing to go down this road, which is basically immigration versus retaining our place in the single market?
Sure.
And I think the answer to that from the government is I don't know. So that's presumably why there's this swithering going on. Meanwhile, today Mrs. May is in India, trying to make some sort of trade agreements with India. India will be asking her to increase the visa allocations for Indian students and businessmen, something which she has personally pledged to reduce. So I'd be surprised if anything comes out of that.
Right.
The big thing on the table is, of course, the presidential election.
Of course.
I think we will know the result of that for sure by 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, so certainly by the time we're all getting up on Wednesday morning, we'll know exactly who the next president of the United States is going to be. Or maybe we won't.
Or maybe we won't, because it's a very, very complicated thing. Go to Wikipedia, whatever, and Google it. But essentially what seems to happen is that people from certain areas vote for, as a recommendation to an electoral college. The electoral college then vote sometime in early December, I think. And they generally do what they're told to do by the voice of the people. But it's quite possible, for instance, to lose the majority vote and win on the number of electoral colleges. So it's not a straightforward thing. And we've already had a lot of histrionics from Mr. Trump saying he may not accept the electoral result, if he doesn't win.
He's already declared it a rigged election, I think, on multiple occasions. So
so the whole thing gets quite bizarre, and I don't know. What's your view, Adam?
So I mean, I think things at the moment are very difficult to read. I know up until a couple of weeks ago, Hillary had a quite a large lead. I think it was 12 points, 1 point.
Yeah.
That has since been reduced, as I think, with a lot of kind of decisions, the line between what one side wants and the other kind of narrows to a point in the middle.
Yeah.
But I think my kind of understanding of how authentic and how realistic polls are has been severely dented by both the Scottish independence referendum and then, of course, the Brexit referendum, where
I think Brexit is a case in point because it was undoubtedly a protest vote by a sort of kind of disenfranchised majority.
Yeah, the silent majority they're referring to as again.
People who haven't really participated in any benefit in their lifestyle over the last couple of terms. And their vote is an angry vote. It's an emotional vote. And therefore doesn't really depend on anything that their candidate says. He just has to be visible and to be championing their rights, I guess.
And I mean, Trump has said, from what has been reported, some very, very despicable things about ethnic minorities.
Whatever you like. Just about every topic.
And he still seems to be very, very close to achieving presidency, which is
that's right, because he just has to be a maverick to get the protest vote. It's almost like I'm going to smash on the party because you're not putting on my record or something like this. Whilst to vote for Hillary, I guess might be either a blind act of sort of I'm a Democrat, therefore I must vote Hillary, or quite rational. So maybe the question is, are there more rational or irrational people in America, and therefore Trump must win?
And of course, currency-wise, we don't really know what a Trump presidency will involve. But
there's certainly a reduction of uncertainty.
Yes,
and reduction of uncertainty can be information. In which case, I think if Hillary wins, then the dollar gets stronger. That's a fact. If Trump wins, certainly the stock market gets weaker. My guess is that the dollar decreases, certainly in the short term, maybe in the long term, I don't know. But if anything, definitely Trump is more dollar negative than Hillary.
Certainly.
So that's where we are. And I'm going to leave you, and you'll do the almonds and cashews with Michael.
Very good. Yeah, so we'll speak to Michael about those, see kind of where the markets are on almonds and cashews, so stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Thank you.